Aloha, and thank you for joining us at the Maui Memory Clinic for another Memory Bite. I'm your host, Maile Harding, and with us today is Catherine Blake.
Hello, Maile.
Hi.
Hi.
Thanks for being here.
It's an honor to be here today, Maile. Thank you very much.
So, let's talk about you.
Okay.
You are actually a certified plant-based nutrition.
Yes, I studied with Cornell, where T. Colin Campbell, who wrote the book The China Study, an amazing book talking about the greatest epidemiological study on food and nutrition thus far to date. I studied his work with Cornell and got certified in plant-based nutrition.
All right, so you have been quite the busy bee.
Yes.
You have co-authored the Macmillan Reference Gale Encyclopedia on Alternative Medicine.
Yes, that was this year, 2019. I was one of the authors for many of the encyclopedia articles. A very exciting project, I might add.
Very daunting, I bet.
It was exciting.
A lot of information.
A lot of information, and it had to be presented just so for them to accept it. They only wanted the most recent, the latest and the greatest of studies to be included in their encyclopedia.
I'm sure. Right. Okay. So you've also been co-investigator for the Hawaii Dementia Prevention Trial.
Yes.
We did that a while back in Oahu.
You were part of that with Dr. Harding, and all of the doctors donated their time and expertise to help us investigate whether we could, in fact, delay the onset of dementia. And we had excellent results. We were successful, and that was published in the Journal of Brain Sciences in January 2019. It just got published this year, and that is a very exciting project that I was involved in with some great people.
So we're happy to be here working with you again. And I know I could go on and on about your credentials, but why don't we get started?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell us about the best cooking methods to help us keep a healthy brain going?
Well, thank you. That's an excellent question. It seems that when certain foods are cooked with barbecuing or broiling, they form advanced glycation end products. And this is something... Ages. They age the body. In fact, they deal with cross-linking, and you get wrinkles, among other things. But more than that, you have problems that the advanced glycation end products can cross the blood-brain barrier and go into the brain with a RAGE receptor, and they help to form tau tangles and Alzheimer's plaques, which are not desirable. These cause inflammation in the brain, and end products mean that it's the end of the road. They cannot be broken down. And so we want to avoid the AGE's advanced glycation end products. And the best way to do that is by cooking with steaming or boiling. In other words, if you're using water in your cooking, these AGEs do not form. So you're off to a good start.
So you want to stay away from the barbecuing, and when you see those black charred marks on your food, that is an indication that you have AGEs.
Exactly. You want to be real careful about that. You also have heterocyclic amines that are formed when foods are cooked and browned too much. So that is another problem. One of the problems with that is that restaurants train their chefs. It's the Amadori reaction, the Maillard reaction, and they want this because it adds flavor to the food, and meats or
people
poultry,
like that charred, smoked taste.
Yeah, they like the flavor and the little texture, but it's not good for you, and it's contributing to damage in the long run. So what you want to do is choose foods that are either raw or boiled or steamed or just lightly cooked. You don't want to form that dark brown crust.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about the types of food we want to avoid to minimize developing vascular dementia.
Oh, yes, please. If you're eating foods that are high in saturated fat, your risk of developing vascular dementia is greatly increased. And with the vascular dementia, there's clogged arteries, there are tiny strokes that happen, mini strokes, transient ischemic attacks, and so you're actually in trouble. So the saturated fats, the American Heart Association recommends a limit of only 5% of your calories per day, and that if you're eating a 2,000 calorie day, which would be about normal for me, then you are only supposed to get 11 grams of saturated fat per day, and people get way more than that. Let me give you a little example. Spam, a can is 18 grams of saturated fat in half a can.
That's a local staple.
That in Hawaii, it's the fifth
Spam
major food
musubi,
group, right?
yeah.
Yes, everyone eats it around here. Another one that people think is very healthy, but surprise, surprise, coconut oil is very high in saturated fat. In fact, it's one of the top ones on the chart. 2 tablespoons of coconut oil provides 24 grams of saturated fat. And if we're only supposed to get 11 grams per day, you've already gone 2 days into the, today and tomorrow, and you're not supposed to eat anything else all day long.
Wow.
So
that's not going to happen.
no, but if you choose vegetables and fruits, whole grains, beans, bananas, tofu, those are all very low in saturated fat. So any of the plant-based foods, you're safe, you're good to go, except for the coconut oil.
Okay. All right. Well, that doesn't sound bad. I mean, who doesn't like a good fruit? They have actually quite a bit of sugar in it, right? Depending on which one you're eating.
They do have sugar, but for example, this is a fun one. This is a Cuban red banana, which we picked from our tree in our garden yesterday. We live in Hawaii, Maui, where food falls off the trees, manna from heaven,
Literally.
right? It's amazing. And this is the sweetest, gentlest banana. You can have it later. And this fruit, although it has sugars in it, also has fibers. Now, I think fiber is the unsung hero of the food kingdom, because when you have the fiber, it slows down the assimilation of the sugars. So all of a sudden, you're getting the sugars slow released. It's working well in your system, along with other nutrients as well.
Which keeps you feeling fuller longer, too.
Yes, that is exactly right.
So you'll stay away from eating maybe the things that aren't so good for you because you're already filled up on the good stuff.
That's right. Carbohydrates are not all alike. The complex carbohydrates still include all of the fiber, and that's what we want in our diets. We don't want the simple carbohydrates of, the soft drinks and the candy bars. On occasion, that's fine, but not as a steady diet.
Limit those.
Limit those.
Yeah.
In fact, if you have those elevated sugar levels for over 2 weeks in a row, your body starts forming advanced glycation end products. So even if you're avoiding the animal products that are high in sat fats, you can get the sugars, elevated sugars for over a couple of weeks will contribute to your advanced glycation. The edges form then. The cross-linking begins again. Takes away your beautiful skin and insides
we don't want
too.
that.
No, it's a good reason to stay healthy, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we talked about saturated fats. What about anthocyanins? What can you tell us about berries?
Good question. Intelligent question. So berries have anthocyanins, which are the dark pigment in blueberries, dark grapes, red raspberries, and these are protective. They're actually found inside the hippocampus. The hippocampus is one of the memory centers of the brain, and they're found in there, and they're protective. So we want berries. In the Hawaii Dementia Prevention Trial, we recommended a cup of berries every single day. Okay. Now, the way that I do it at home with my husband, Dr. Blake, is I put blueberries in my oatmeal every single day. So we have a lot of blueberries, a whole cup, in our oatmeal. About 50% berries and fruit and 50% oatmeal. We're getting the complex carbohydrates, the high fiber, which helps smooth our blood flow and our sugars, and removes cholesterol from the body. And then what we do as well is we put in some almonds on occasion. Now, the almonds are high in vitamin E. In fact, a small handful of almonds provides 25 milligrams of the vitamin E in the form that is most popular, alpha tocopherol. It's very much used in the body as an antioxidant and most useful to protect the brain as well.
Okay, so then we're doing something right then, because we are doing the oatmeal with our blueberries and mixed nuts. So
you are doing perfectly there. Perfect.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Maile. It's just so much fun to be working and part of the Maui Memory Clinic, which is the hottest new clinic in town. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. We'll see you again for another Minute Bright.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.